Hey, y'all, let's cover lesson 3, multiplication and division of whole numbers. Okay, we're going to use various symbols to represent multiplication. You could use 3, you're going to use 3 times 4 for all of these references. So we could use 3 times 4, 3 times 4, 3 times 4, 3 times 4, 3 times 4. There's so many things we could do. I think that's enough. I think I've done a little overkill on you. All right, so in the expression 3 times 4, well, that equals 12. All right, 3 and 4 are called factors of 12. Factors, and 12 is the product of 3 and 4. It's the product. So you need to understand that product means multiplication. When you do word problems, this is when you really see that math, and we'll do this, not this section, a little bit in every section. Anytime you see the word product, understand that it's representing multiplication. And we've already talked about sum is addition. So the factors of 12 are 3 and 4, and the product of 3 and 4 is 12. Multiplication is equivalent to repeated addition. Repeated addition is multiplication is equivalent to. So just like what you have multiple of the same number, you can just take that and make it a multiplication table. So example is 4 times 5. So this is representative of, well, there's 4 5s or 5 4s. It depends on how you want to look at it. So we could say 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is equal to 4 times 5. We could also say 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is equal to the same number. All right, and this is equal to 20. 5 times 4, let's do that. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that too is 20. All right. So commutative property of multiplication. If A and B are whole numbers, then A times B is equal to B times A. Okay. So 4 times 5 is equal to 5 times 4. All right. Any questions with this, please make notes and let me know. Multiplication has an identity, just like addition. Addition's identity was 0, because if you added 0 to any number, it stayed that number. The number that we can multiply instead of add any other number by, and it doesn't change that number's value, is 1. 1 times any number is still that same number. So this is 1. Example would be A times 1 is equal to A, or 5 times 1 is equal to 5. All right. Thinking of multiplication as repeated addition, and addition is combining objects, we can expand our thoughts of multiplication to combining objects as well. So if we think of 3 times 4 and combining 3 sets of 4, this is what it's going to look like. There's 3 sets of 4. Each one of them has 4. So you could just add this all up, or you can multiply 3 times 4. But this is the representative of what the product of 3 times 4 is. Keeping the same lines of thinking, what would be 0 times 4? Or what would 0 times 4 be? Well, this is 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4. What would 0 times 4 be? There would be nothing. It would just be 0. So it's 0 sets of 4, which is 0 times 4, which is 0. No sets means no objects. No sets means no objects. Okay, so let's go to multiplication by 0, which we just chatted about a little bit. If A is any whole number, then A times 0 is 0. An example would be 7 times 0 is 0. All right. Example of 2 times 3 times 4. Okay. So that would be 2 times, remember we do what's in the parentheses first. 3 times 4 is 12. And 2 times 12 is 24. This one I'm going to bring over here. 2 times 3 times 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Times 4 is 24. Okay, so they're the same. Well, what does that mean? Go to the next page. What that means. The associative property, which means that, oh, there we go, the associative property of multiplication. So if A, B, and C are any whole numbers, then A times B times C, parentheses around A and B, the product, is equal to A times the product of B times C in parentheses. All right. Example of that would be 2 times 3 times 4 is equal to 2 times 3 times 4. Now this is a little overkill here because this and the parenthesis means multiplication, just an FYI. But I wanted you to make sure and understand that these are all separated. 2 times 3 is 6 times 4. 2 times 3 times 4 is 12. 6 times 4 is 24. And 2 times 12 is 24 as well. So that's how that works. All right. Multiply 56 times 335. So if you're not multiplying with a calculator, which is something that we're going to be working on, 56 times 335, 335 times 56, you want to line them up. Honestly, I don't even know if it matters at this point because it does, especially if you want to keep them in line, which is what I'm about to do. Yeah, it does. Okay. So 6 times 5 is 30. So 0 of the 30 goes here, 3 up here. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 6 is 18. Oh, 18. I forgot something there. So that's 3. Let me come back down here and do this. Shows everyone makes mistakes. Nothing wrong with it. Fix it. All right. So 5 times 6 is 30. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 3, 18, 19, 20, 21. Carry the 2. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. Now, for this next one, we are not starting with the 6. We're going to the 5, which is in the tens place. So you can either put a 0 here or an X here, which is what I was taught. But now we're going to multiply every one of these 335 times the 5. 5 times 5 is 25. The 5 goes here. The 2 is carried. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 2 is 17. Carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 1 is 16. So that's 0, 6, 7, 6, 8, and 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 1 is 6. 0 plus 7 is 7. 2 plus 6 is 8. And then we bring down the 1. So for multiplying 56 times 335, it is 18,760. All right. Let's put a little box around that. All right, like with multiplication, we have several different notations that we can use to show division. So we've got 12 divided by 4, 12 divided by 4, 4 going into 12, and 12 divided by 4. In the statement, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. The 12 is called the dividend. Dividend. Does not have to do with money. 4 is called the divisor. And 3 is called the quotient. Quotient is the word you're going to see utilized a lot in word problems. So just like sum with addition, difference with subtraction, product with multiplication, now we have quotient for division. These are words you're going to want to bring attention to yourself and make sure you're comfortable with understanding those definitions that I'm bringing to you. You've got to know those words when you go into your word problems, okay? So make note of those. The expression A divided by B is called a fraction. The number A on top is called the numerator. And let me see, of the fraction, and the number B on the bottom is called the denominator of the fraction. All right, division is equivalent to repeated subtraction. For example, 12 divided by 4 is asking how many 4s can we subtract from 12, or how many 4s can we divide 12 into? is actually more accurate of how they're wanting to utilize it. But we're doing with the fractions, so it's a little bit different. Subtraction is a little different. All right, so let's do this. We can also ask how many groups of 4 are in 12. That's another way to phrase it. Note that this particular division leaves no what? Well, you start at 12 because that's the answer. And they're wanting to divide by 4. So taking 12 and dividing it into 1, 2, 3. See how many 4s you can go. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3. There's 3 groups of 4. So note this particular division leaves no remainder. It's exact. This is not always the case, as in the next examples. So 7 divided by 3, and I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way that I learned. 3 goes into 7. Well, 3 goes into 7 how many times? 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6. If you do not feel comfortable with your multiplication skills, now's the time to get there. You're going to want to get comfortable just for life. I use multiplication skills almost every day, not just in work. So this is a 2 with a remainder of 1. 18 divided by 6. 18 divided by 6 is just 3. 6 divided by 18, well, that's different. That one's going to be different. That's 0. Let's see here. So that's 18 going into 6. 18 goes into 6 0 times. And that leaves us a remainder of 6. So 0 with a remainder of 6. All right. The 7 minus 6 gave us the 1. All right. Some were and some were not. Let's move on to page 3, please. All right. So example for 48 divided by 8, in parentheses, divided by 2. Okay, give me just one moment, please. About that. Okay, so example, parentheses 48 divided by 8, divided by 2. So we're going to do the 48 divided by 8. 48 divided by 8 is 6. Okay, and then 6 divided by 2 is 12. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, is 3. It's multiplying. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 48 divided by 8 divided by 2. So now we have 48 divided by 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then 48 divided by 4 is 12. Because 4 times 12 is 48. 3 times 2 is 6. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we cannot, there's no associative property here. We cannot have parentheses in 2 different places and get the same answer. It matters where the parentheses are for division and for subtraction, not addition and multiplication. All right, that's if you're just dealing strictly with addition and multiplication. If there is a subtraction or a division or anything thrown in there, then all bets are off. That changes everything. All right, so suppose that we are asked to divide 6 by 0. In the array, we have 6 below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many groups of 0 do you see? Well, you can't see anything because we can also think of the question as asking us the opposite of the multiplication question. So 6 divided by 0 is asking us to find the number that we multiply by 0 to get a product of 6. And there's no such number. So there's nothing. There's nothing. And because that's the case, division by 0 is undefined. Okay. Really fun if you have an Apple or an iOS device and Siri what 1 divided by 0 is. It's cute. I think there's several different fun things you can do with there. But something fun to do. All right, so what does that mean? So 6 divided by 0 is undefined. 6 divided by 0 is undefined. 0 over 6, no, that's different. That's 0. Okay. What else? Oh, this is a different one I was doing. I'm sorry, I was doing different. 0 divided into 6 is undefined. All right, note that order matters in division. So the reverse question 0 divided by 6 does make sense in an array of 0 objects. It makes sense to ask how many groups of 6 that we can create. So how many? Well, none. We can't create any of them. 0 divided by 6 is equal to 0. 0 divided by 6 is 0. 6 into 0 is 0. Okay. So we're going to be doing most of the division on calculators. However, as we've seen, division does not always work out with no remainder. When there's a remainder, our calculator won't show us that. Instead, it's going to show us a fraction, a decimal. I'm sorry, a decimal. I was thinking of decimals as fractions. Sometimes we want to know what the remainder is. How can we use our calculator to find the remainder? So with your calculator, you're going to go 19 divided by 5 equals. All right, and when you do that, you're going to get 3.8. The 3 is what we need here. Okay, now what we're going to do is take the 3 and go like this. We're going to go 19 divided by 5 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 9 minus 5 is 4. So this is our remainder. So remainder 4. All right, 577 divided by 23. So on your calculator, you're going to take 577 and divide it by 23. 577 divided by 23 is 25.08. All I need is the 25, okay? Because now I'm taking that 23 going into 577, and I know I'm multiplying 23 times 25 because that's what my calculator gave me. That's where it goes right there. And now I'm going to multiply 25 and 23. And when I do that, I get 575. And I just subtract it from the 577 and I get 2. So it's 25 remainder of 2. And that's how we do division when it has a remainder and they want to know what the remainder is. Last page for lesson 3. How can we determine the number of stars in the array? Well, we could count them individually. That doesn't sound fun, unless you're really bored. The other thing is to count how many is across the first row. And that's 5. And then how many columns there are, and then how many rows there are. And there's 4 rows. So we could either count them, or we could multiply, which is better, 5 times 4, or 4 times 5. So what does that give us? That gives us there are 20 stars. Okay. The area of an object, what is it? Is how much space it takes up. The area of an object is how much space it takes up. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm struggling here because I need new glasses. And so I'm having a heck of a time seeing. So please bear with me. I will have them in a few weeks. Hopefully I can make it. I'm so sorry for me struggling through this. So area is always, 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 and you'll hear me say this when you come to my 1500 class, area is always measured in square units. Get comfortable with this now. A lot of what you see in this class, you're going to be seeing in 1500, the next class after this. And I will try my best to bring attention to it whenever we do. This is one of those cases. We will be doing this a lot in our geometry portion of 1500. Okay, so our first one here is a square, and it says 1 square inch because they are all 1 on either side. So 1 square inch is 1 inch. I'll just go 1 inch times 1 inch, length times width. All right. 1 square foot is 1 foot times 1 foot, length times width. Area is length times width. So length times width, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Area for a square, length times width. So again, doesn't matter which one. All right. The next thing we can do here is, what is it? What is the area of a rectangle with a length of 4 inches and a width of 3 inches? Well, same thing we did up there. Area is length times width, which is 4 times 3, or we have the same thing, 3 and 4. 3, what is it, foot? Inches times 4 inches, which is 12 inches squared. Because area is always measured in squares. Okay, so you've got to make sure that when you're representing your area for anything, it's going to have that unit squared, whether it be feet squared, inches squared, meters squared, centimeters squared, whatever the length is, you're going to want to square it. Okay. Area of a rectangle is length times width, which is what I just did. Let L and W is your length and your width of your rectangle. If A is the area of the rectangle, then area is equal to length times width. Got a little ahead of us there. I'm going to write this out for us too. Area is equal to length times width. So the times width. All right. An area answered should what? Always be measured in square units. Area answers always measured. Ooh, Lord, can't spell. Measured. It's hard looking at the screen though. In square units. Square units. All right. Last piece here. Example, a rectangle has a width of 17 inches and a length of 33 inches. Find the area of the rectangle. Well, we know the area is equal to length times width. So the area is equal to, well, the width is 17 and the length is 33. 33 inches times 17 inches. You do not have to have the units in here. What we're going to do instead is 33 times 17. All right. And we get 561 with our calculator. So area equals 561. Here's why I wrote it this way. And this is what you'll probably see me doing going forward in this class. I find that I just always carry my units with me because I forget. I don't know about you, but I always forget to have the right thing. There's 3 things I need to do for this. This is a word problem. So I need to show you how you're going to answer it. A rectangle has the width and the length. Find the area of the rectangle. So I'm going to use this here. The area is 561. And this is the part I don't want you to forget. Because remember, every time you answer a question for me, you're going to give me a sentence. You're going to give me the number rounded properly, and you're going to give me the correct units. So in this case, I would have forgotten to put the units in there because I don't have the units represented with my numbers. That's why I do it. So I'll remember to write inches squared. Okay. That is it for lesson 3. I will see y'all in lesson 4. I hope you're doing well. If you're not, or if there's any questions you have, please shoot me a message. Hit message the instructor in My Open Math, or give me an email, text me. I don't even know. Pigeon, whatever you need to do. All right, y'all have a great one. Take care.